In today's video, I'll be sharing my favorite places to shop for yarn online. Thank you Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform where creatives can stand out with their online presence. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Knits. My name is Amy, and here I love to talk about all things knitting. Today's video, we're talking all about online yarn shopping. I thought it'd be fun to go through some frequently asked questions that I get as an experienced knitter. Now, of course, online yarn shopping is something that you might need to do if you're unable to shop at a physical store. Maybe you don't have a physical yarn store near you in your local area, or maybe the yarn that you want just isn't available to you, so you gotta hit up your phone, you gotta hit up your computer, and it can be overwhelming to sift through all the different websites, all the different stores, and all the different yarns that exist. So I'm gonna be sharing where I shop for yarn online as a knitter in the US. Before we dive into the list of online yarn shops, I want to take a few moments to thank the sponsor of today's video, Squarespace. Squarespace is the platform where creatives can stand out with their online presence. I use Squarespace to build my website, ne-knits.com. Squarespace has so many features to put together a really beautiful website with very minimal effort. With Squarespace's design intelligence, you can build a website that's tailored to you and your specific needs. In addition to hosting things like a blog on your website, Squarespace also has a lot of features like online payments for an e-commerce store where you can sell digital items like knitting patterns or physical items like finished knit products. And as someone who wants to grow their online presence, I find Squarespace really simple to use, really easy, and user-friendly. So if you're interested in building a Squarespace website, head to squarespace.com to start a free trial today. Once you're ready to launch your site, head to squarespace.com/neknits and use the code NEKNITS to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video, and now let's get into the knitting content. The first website I'll share is lionbrand.com. Now, if you shop for yarn in person at places like Michael's or Joann, rest in peace, then you are probably familiar with Lion Brand yarn. They are an American yarn brand that has a lot to offer. If you haven't visited their website yet, I definitely recommend it. I have been a huge fan of Lion Brand since I started knitting. They have such a wide variety of staple yarns as well as some unique yarns, and they also offer a lot of different kits with patterns on their site. I find that their selection is really good if you're looking for yarns that are worsted weight and above. They have a huge range of different yarn types, including synthetic fibers as well as natural fibers. Lion Brand is probably most known for their Pound of Love, which is a 100% acrylic yarn, as well as their Woolies, which is an 80% acrylic and 20% wool blend that comes in both a worsted weight and a thick and quick version that I remember using so much of back when I used to knit hats for markets. But in addition to their synthetic and synthetic blend yarns, they also have a good selection of natural fibers that you might not know about. Definitely check out their LB collection, which has a wide range of their more boutique yarns that feature 100% natural fibers in a wide variety of colors and styles. Some of my favorite picks from Lion Brand include Lion Brand Kobu, which is a great spring and summer yarn. It's a blend of cotton and bamboo. I also love their 24/7 cotton. If you're into crocheting bags or home accessories, their worsted weight 24/7 cotton is a great pick, as well as Hue and Me, which is a blend of 80% acrylic and 20% wool. This is a chunky weight yarn that I feel like is really good for blankets. I actually made this plaid blanket out of a Lion Brand kit and really enjoyed the process. When you select a Lion Brand kit, it comes with all of the yarn you need. You get to pick exactly what colors you want to use in your project, and then they give you the digital pattern for no additional cost, which is a really great deal. One shopping tip with Lion Brand is to definitely subscribe to their newsletter because they are always running discounts. I always recommend to never buy anything from Lion Brand at full price, because if it's not on sale now, it's highly likely to be on sale next week. Just subscribe to their newsletter, as they are often sending out promo codes and discount codes that you can use for your purchase. The second website I'm going to talk about is KnitPicks. KnitPicks.com is also known as WeCrochet.com. They are both the same, but they have different branding. But as a knitter, I often shop for KnitPicks. They are a one-stop shop for such a wide variety of yarns that I feel like are sold for at a really great price, so really affordable and great value for what you're paying. Similar to Lion Brand, they have a good variety of both synthetic and natural fibers, but I find KnitPicks' selection of natural fibers to be the real winner and why I love KnitPicks so much. One of KnitPicks' most popular yarns is called Palette, which is a 100% Peruvian Highland wool that comes in such a wide range of colors, hence the name Palette. Palette is really known for being great for colorwork projects as well as garments like sweaters. If you hold it with something like a silk mohair, it makes a great combo for a lightweight fluffy sweater. If you're not into fingering weight yarns, Wool of the Andes worsted is a great great pick from Knit Picks. Also comes in a pretty wide range of colors. It also comes in some tweed varieties, some heathers, some solids. It's also 100% Peruvian Highland wool. I love how on Knit Picks website you can filter by yarn weight, by fiber, by color. It's really an intuitive website to use. I know they recently revamped it, so I really like shopping on there. If I don't know what yarn exactly to get for a project, I usually can narrow down some choices from Knit Picks. In addition to yarns, Knit Picks also has a great selection of tools and notions that I really enjoy using. The Knit Picks premium blocking mats have been with me for years. I feel like I'm using them almost every week, and I just recently invested in their yarn Swift, which I love and have used also maybe on a weekly basis since getting it. Knit Picks also has a really good selection of knitting needles. So if you're relatively new to the knitting world and have an interest in investing in an interchangeable set, Knit Picks has a really cool thing called the Try It set, which includes a few needles of different materials and some cords, so you can learn if you like wooden needles versus metal needles. If you're a fan of Knit Picks, I definitely recommend getting on their physical mailing list, as they do mail out catalogs, I think about once a quarter. I really enjoy opening up my mailbox and finding a Knit Picks catalog where I can flip through the latest and greatest yarns that they have to offer. Now, if you're a garment knitter, so you like to knit sweaters, you've probably come across some petite knit patterns, maybe some Sari Northern patterns, and those designers often recommend yarns like Sanus Garn or Isayer, Knitting for Olive. And one yarn store that has a great online shop is Wool & Co. that carries all three of those brands and so much more. While there are many stores across the US, including physical local yarn stores that carry those brands, I find that Wool & Co. has the largest online selection and is also another really easy website to navigate for shopping. They display all of their yarns on the website with really big, bright pictures that I find are pretty color accurate, which is always helpful. On top of selling yarn, they have some extra perks like ball winding services if you don't have a ball winder at home, and they also will discount your purchases of $100 or more depending on what brands you're shopping from. Now, when shopping with Wool & Co., I find it easiest if you already know what specific yarn you're shopping for, because I find that their filters are not as in-depth as they could be. They're not as depth as like the Knit Picks website that I showed earlier. In general, Wool & Co. is known for excellent customer service. I've ordered from them a handful of times. They ship super quickly. Even one time there was like an issue with my order and they resolved it very quickly. They reached out immediately and everything was just very nice experience as the shopper. Wool & Co. is a physical store located in Illinois, so if you are local to that area, would definitely recommend visiting it. I would love to go visit there someday, but until then, you can find me shopping on their website. Have you ever visited yarn.com? If you have, then you're familiar with Webb's, a really large yarn store based out of my home state, Massachusetts. Webb's carries a large variety of yarn brands, including the classics like Cascade and Barocco. Some of my picks include Cascade 2020, which is a workhorse 100% wool yarn at a worsted weight, as well as Barocco, and Barocco Vintage is one of my favorite yarns that I used a lot when I was starting out to knit, and knits up really well, and I found it really great to use for beanies. Webb's also carries brands like Noro, which is a Japanese yarn brand known for its really vivid colors and its yarn, and they also carry brands like Malabrigo and Rowan, and so many more that I can't list right now. The Webb's website is easy to navigate with multiple filters, so you can select exactly what fiber you're looking for, what weight yarn, and what color. I find that their web pages have really clear and concise info for the yarn that you're buying. In addition to other yarn brands, they also have their own yarn brand called Valley Yarns. I was scrolling through their selection. They have blends of alpaca and wool and cotton and silk and some acrylic blends as well. So definitely check out Valley Yarns while you're shopping at Webb's online. Webb's has a really fun program called the Webb's Discount, which actually discounts their yarn based off of how much you buy. And this discount applies to so many of their yarns on their website. I feel like every time I've shopped online at Webb's, my yarn qualified for the Webb's discount, which is really nice. In addition to yarn, they also have a wide variety of knitting needles and notions, including needle sets from Knitter's Pride. Their Dreams birch needles. Those are my go-to wooden needles when I don't want to use metal. Webb's also has a physical catalog, so if you love receiving catalogs in the mail, definitely sign up for their mailing list. Another online yarn website that I've ordered yarn from is called Wool Warehouse. They are based out of the UK, so they can be a great shop if you're looking for yarns that might be harder to find in the US. They carry brands like Drops, which is a great yarn brand if you're looking for budget-friendly yarns for your projects. They also carry brands like Shapeus from the Netherlands, Brands, Opal, and so many more. This is another website where it can be really easy to get lost in how many different things that they sell. They have needles and notions, including needles like Addy, Haya Haya, and Lika needles. When I've ordered from Wool Warehouse in the past, I've been pleasantly surprised with how quickly the packages came to me here in the US. I love how their shipping is relatively affordable for what it is coming from the UK, and they also offer their yarn to be packaged in a little cute organza bag, which doubles as a great project bag or a way to store your yarn. I think that's just a great addition to the shopping experience. Now, just a note when ordering yarn from a foreign country to just check your bank or your credit card to be sure that you aren't going to be charged any unexpected foreign transaction fees. Whenever I shop online, I always am sure to check out with my credit card that has a 0% foreign transaction fee, so I can be sure I'm not paying any more than I need to for my yarn. Now, the next place I'm going to recommend for online yarn shopping is a little bit unconventional, and that is Ravelry. Now, Ravelry has a great function called the stash function where you can catalog all of your yarn, and you can also be nosy and look at everyone else's yarn. So I find shopping Ravelry for yarn is a great way if you are looking for an extremely specific yarn that might be available at a lower than retail price. I have some personal experience ordering some spin cycle dyed in the wool through a Ravelry detash, which I was able to get at a lower price than what it would be if I bought it directly from Spin Cycle. And I've also sold some of my own yarn to other knitters who really wanted a specific color that I just didn't really want anymore. Now, if you want to see if any yarn is available near you on Ravelry for sale, head to the Ravelry homepage. Be sure to search in yarns and type in the yarn that you're looking for. Click into the yarn page of your yarn and go over to stashes, and you want to filter by status that says will trade or sell. And from here you can type in the specific color name if you know it, or you can just search for the generic color family, and you'll see all the listings of people who have that yarn available for trade or for sale, and it will usually show you a country icon of where they're located. So for me personally, I would stick with the ones that have the US icon. If you see something you like, hit send message and connect with the person who's selling. This just brings you to the Ravelry messages function where you can discuss with whoever is selling, like price, how you're going to pay, how they're going to ship. And this is all kind of independent of Ravelry per se. So Ravelry doesn't have any kind of protections for sales. I've had good experiences with buying from Ravelry, but just use your own discretion when sharing your information online with strangers. Now, if you want to make some of your stashed yarn available for trade or sale in Ravelry, just be sure to mark it as for trade or for sale in the Ravelry stash tab. The last place that I buy yarn from online is a general category of indie dyers. Now, the yarn world is full of independent small businesses that dye yarn by hand, often inspired by themes or collections. Hand-dyed yarns are often much more expensive than commercial yarns because of all of the handmade nature of it, and often made by small businesses, small teams, often just running their own business out of their home or a small studio. Now, all these indie dyers will have their own unique set of base yarns that they offer, as well as their own different method of sale of their yarn. A common format for indie dyers to sell their yarn is through a pre-order process where they will release a collection and have a limited window where you can go on their website and purchase the yarn. They will then close the purchasing window, so you won't be able to place an order on their website anymore, and then they get to work dyeing up all the yarn specifically to the orders that they received. So you won't get your yarn shipped to you until a window of time has passed after you place your online order. This can vary from dyer to dyer. Other dyers will do in-stock updates where they will announce that they are posting yarn for sale at a certain day at a certain time, where you can then go on your website and purchase it before it sells out. And other companies will have, rolling stock on their website that can change from time to time and may not necessarily be part of a limited window to shop. Hand-dyed yarns can be really fun to knit with because they often present a uniqueness in their finished style that you can't really find in commercial yarns. It can also be special to have a yarn that is inspired by something that is important to you, such as a national park or a favorite TV show. A great place to discover indie dyers is to attend some local yarn festivals if you're lucky enough to have those in your area. That can be be a great way to discover new brands, also browsing social media or word of mouth. Some of my favorite indie dyers include Sorella Yarn, Fuzzy Peach Fibers, Explorer Knits and Fibers, The Lamb & Kid, and Paisley Knits, just to name a few. Of course, there are just so many, so I definitely recommend hopping on social media to find some inspiration. And the best way to keep in touch with when certain brands are releasing different collections or having orders open is to subscribe to their newsletter if they have one, or just follow their social media pages. While hand-dyed yarn is significantly more expensive than commercial yarns, a great way to get them at a possible lower price is from a D-stash like on Ravelry, or sometimes companies will have sales where they will discount some leftover or accidental dye lots of yarn but are still perfectly good yarns to use. So staying in touch with those brands will definitely keep you up to date with all of their latest sales and discounts. And that brings us to the end of the list. Those are all of the places that I shop for yarn online. Let me know in the comments where you shop for yarn so we can help each other out if you're looking for places to buy yarn, whether you're new to knitting or just looking for a new to you shop. I hope this video was helpful. All the websites I talked about today will be listed below in the description box. If you want more knitting content and answers to your frequently asked questions, subscribe to my channel where I'll be posting videos about once a week all about knitting, yarn, project reviews, and so much more. If you want to learn more about some of my favorite and not so favorite yarns, I have a great video from last year where I reviewed a bunch of spring and summer fiber yarns that you can click on now to watch. Thank you all for joining today. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.